Hello, friends. Today we march straight into one of the darkest and somehow most heroic chapters of the Revolution. Picture this, 1776. The Declaration of Independence is still hot off the press. The ink barely dry. Freedom is official, and so is trouble. Because guess who just RSVP'd to the rebellion with the world's most intimidating military? That's right, Britain. And they weren't coming with birthday cake. Instead, they sent the largest invasion force the colonies had ever seen. Over 30,000 troops, dozens of warships, Hessians hired from Germany, basically mercenaries with better mustaches, and General William Howe, who thought he could end the rebellion before autumn's leaves hit the ground. George Washington, leading the brand new Continental Army, had set up camp around New York City. He hoped to defend the city and show the British this wasn't going to be easy. Unfortunately, New York was kind of the worst place to make a stand. It had long coastlines, dozens of landing points, and more islands than Washington had maps for. The British, with their mighty navy, could attack from anywhere, and they did. In late August, the first punch came at the Battle of Long Island. Washington's men, brave but inexperienced, found themselves flanked and outmaneuvered. It was like playing chess against a grandmaster after reading Checkers for Dummies. The British took Brooklyn Heights, and the Americans barely escaped, sneaking across the East River at night under fog so thick it felt like divine intervention, or at least excellent weather luck. Then came the slow unraveling. One retreat after another. Skirmishes lost. Forts abandoned. The British took Manhattan, Harlem Heights, and eventually drove the Continental Army all the way through New Jersey. Morale? Think soggy boot at the bottom of a muddy river. Troops were deserting. Washington wrote letters that read like a man on the verge of emotional collapse. Congress? They packed their bags and ran from Philadelphia faster than you could say bad news. But here's the thing, Washington didn't quit. Even while retreating, even when things looked hopeless, he kept his ragtag army alive. He used speed, strategy, and just enough unpredictability to stay ahead of total disaster. And his soldiers, hungry, cold, poorly clothed, stuck with him. Because while the British had power, the Americans had something better, purpose. Also, a little humor helped. One soldier wrote in his diary, "We run fast, but we run together." Washington reportedly told a friend, "We are not retreating, we are advancing in another direction. Hey, if you're going to lose a city, might as well do it with style." By December, the once glorious hopes of a swift American victory were melting like snowflakes in a campfire. The British thought the war was nearly won. But friends, oh, they were wrong. Because out of that long, miserable retreat, through swamps, frost, and failure, George Washington was planning something wild, something bold, something to remind the world that the American spirit hadn't drowned in the Hudson. And it involved a river, a surprise attack, and the most dramatic boat ride in Revolutionary history. Join me next time for episode 14, Crossing the Delaware, the Battle of Trenton. Because when you're losing the game, sometimes you flip the board.